Hi there, my name is Mayan Shah with RVMax.us, and today we're walking through a 2001 Damon Escaper 3979, and I think this is my favorite length diesel coach, personally. Everyone has their preferences, of course. It is 39 feet 2 inches long, and it has 2 slides, a pretty great floor plan. It's not perfect, it's an 01. But what's underneath this coach is pretty surprising. It's actually on a Spartan Mountain Master chassis, and it has a 350 horsepower Cummins ISC producing about 1,050 pound-feet of torque, and it's side radiated. So that Spartan chassis with the Allison and that 8.3 with the radiator on the side is an excellent setup. Now around front, I want to go ahead and open up this bay. We've got our 7,500 watt Onan Quiet diesel generator. So you can start it from out here, and you've got pretty good access to the front of the coach as far as electronics and the generator. It's not on a slide tray, but as I mentioned, the access is pretty solid considering, and you could take this front piece off. Yeah, that's an air chuck right there. So it's nice to have a little air chuck on the front of the coach. It has the Hadley air horns, so those should prove to be pretty solid when we look at it later. Now the face of the coach is in pretty excellent condition, and there's just a couple little, I guess you could call those pretty big checks. There's not like a lot of them, but a few right there. But as far as rock chips, it's kept pretty minimal. There's a handful here and there, but overall the face is in good shape. No 3M problems or anything like that. Glass looks good. The cockpit, what I've noticed just moving the coach around and getting a feel with it, it certainly feels not super long. It has a 242 inch wheelbase. This coach feels quite nimble, and the cockpit is pretty unique. You kind of feel plush and just in your little cocoon. You'll see more of what I'm talking about later on when we do the test drive, and of course if you see it in person, if you're interested in this coach. But anyways, Velvac mirrors here. There's a dual split, and there's some paint chipping off. I like how these are painted though, so to go and fix them, you just simply need to paint them. This one has more coming off. The other is that mirror is pretty good, but that's a good idea to have them painted. Velvacs give you good vision down the side. It does have the dual fill, so you can fill this diesel tank from both sides of the coach. And yes, 22.5 aluminum wheels, so no steels with the covers. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that, right? But the Alcoas with the 22.5 size, they just look nice. These tires have, I think, 2015 date codes on them. I saw on the other side. There's no paint checking. There is some paint checking. There's no dry rot cracks or anything like that. And, you know, let's see, 07 of 15. So you can go 7-8 years. If I were to go long distance, I'd probably want to put new front tires maybe at some point. But that being said, the tires are in good shape, being that they're, you know, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've heard that you can go to 10 years and that's when you throw the tire out, absolutely. From some very smart people, I've heard 6-7 years you start looking for tires. So maybe you get to 8 years or something. I don't know. This bus is as it sits. You can do with it what you'd like, and we of course can negotiate things and help you out. We have, you know, we can help get tires, stuff like that. We can discuss, and it's, you know, nothing can't be worked out. But the coach looks very nice sitting out, I have to say. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of green, even though I love green. My first car was green, I still have it. I love green. And the more I've looked at it, and just, I don't know, I've enjoyed the paint job a whole lot more. I think it looks unique and it looks nice. It's much more tasteful, right? You've got some fading going on. It's not just solid. You've got a little bit of the dual color in there, and that subtle metallic, as you get closer, it pops out, but it's not a big metallic. It's oh, and here, while we're up close showing the beautiful paint, we've got some checking, of course, mainly only happening in the dark paints, and it's actually not that bad on this coach. The windows, so we do have there's a lot of options on this coach. This is a very well-spec'd coach for an Escaper. I'm just glossing over them because it's not a big deal and you kind of expect it. So the option was dual pane windows. Of course, it's optioned with the nicer paint. The full body paint, we're optioned with the 350 Cummins and the Spartan chassis, which is definitely an upgrade. But of course, there are little flaws. I want to point those out. So there's a little flaw there, kind of point that out. And this window right here has some fog. But these are unfortunately common issues on any coach, really. It doesn't matter how much you pay, dual pane windows, even on a house, can fog. And the visibility is actually not too bad there, but it's a reality. I'm just pointing stuff out. A couple little scuffs, but overall the coach looked really nice on the outside. We've got acrylic window awnings with the aluminum shrouds. And of course, this side of the topper has an aluminum shroud too. And before we completely move on from this area, these bays right here are the driver side access to the pass-through storage compartments. And then right here we have our wet bay. So this is where you can dump the tanks, as well as hook up to city pressure. So you've got a nice valve up top, got an outside shower, soap dispenser, as well as a towel holder, which is quite nice. You can access your water pump switch, and there is a sewer flusher, so that's always satisfying and just nice to have instead of having to dump from your black tank or from your toilet all the time. You know, it's you can just plug a hose right in. Up above, we should have, cable and telephone. Classic. So right here we have our prized jewel, one of many, which is our side radiated setup. And I like the little aluminum grill that we have. Instead of just giving us, or giving you just a standard grill, they kind of highlight the side radiated setup, which I absolutely don't blame them. Now right here we have our 50 amp power cord. Now around back, because we have the radiator on the side, we have this significant access to the back of the engine, which will allow you to change your belts if you're on the road much easier, and just in general save on labor costs and get to the back of the engine. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now down below we have a standard 6-pole connector and a 5,000 pound towing capacity. So 5,000 pounds is absolutely no problem. Most all flat tows will be fine. We've got Honda CR-V. We even have a BMW 3 Series, which is a flat tow. Anyways, you wouldn't be able to have some massive Hummer. The chassis, transmission, engine setup, most coaches have a 10,000 pound rating. So I need to dig into it. It could be the weight of the coach, blah, blah, blah. We're selling the coach as is, bless you. And it has a 5,000 pound towing capacity. That being said, it's possible to upgrade that, especially given its setup. This is a workhorse chassis. It's absolutely fantastic. Not to be confused with the actual workhorse brand chassis. Now, again, that aluminum grill is kind of continued in the back, so it gives you that vibe. And I like how that looks, right? Just gives it a clean look. Backup camera is adjustable. And you know, sometimes you want to adjust it to give yourself a clear line right here of where your bumper is. And then down here, we have a little more finishing out of this fiberglass and gives you a nice grille look on the coach. Passenger side of the bus. There's really not that much delam to speak of. You know, most older coaches have some level of delamination. And as far as I've seen, there's really none that I can tell. I mean, I suspected this area, but that's pretty solid. The sides of this coach are absolutely fantastic, especially given its age. Anyways, I think when you get it out of the sun, the paint starts to look a little nicer too. It takes a different feel. It looks more natural. It looks more, and as you would imagine sitting in a state park, you're gonna have light filtering in through the trees. I think this green paint is a cherry because I think it kind of pops more in the sun and it looks more, I kind of prefer, I don't know, they both look very nice in both lighting, so I'm gonna stop talking there. I can certainly talk. Now right up here we have a little chrome piece. It's looks like a stainless piece for the intake on the coach. A little bit of clear coming off right there. And again, aluminum shrouded slide out topper and our huge electric patio awning. So this was an option along with this classic Carefree of Colorado door awning. This, for some reason, takes me back to memories as a little kid when I was like small enough to hang off the side of coaches and like get them out if the strap wasn't available like we have it right there. Anyways, this electric patio awning right here has sensing, it has a wind sensor at multiple sensitivities. So you can have it on high, medium, low, and it's a one-touch out. And it's nice having the wind sensor because it kind of gives you a little more peace of mind, of course. Now, this has an entertainment bay. I love how these compartments open up. Look how far that comes up, right? But that TV right there, honestly, the first time I opened this compartment, I just busted out laughing because the TV is so cute. But the reality of it is we have rails right there. So you could mount some kind of TV, I think, on those rails. Let me shut this compartment down. These compartments seem to be quite well insulated. You can see how thick they are, right? And the compartment bays themselves are framed in steel. And that is definitely superior. Sometimes you'll see alloys used to frame your main compartment bays. We have yet another option, which is that massive, massive slide tray. This coach has a good amount of space considering its 39-foot 2-inch length. This is pretty sizable storage right there, thanks to a raised rail chassis. Now right here we have our tanks. Got a 100-gallon fresh tank, and I believe there's around 50 or so gallons in the gray and black. I'll have to double check that. But up above, more importantly, we have a 2,000 watt inverter. So that was an option at the time and allows you to operate all your outlets, your TVs, as well as your microwave just off of your batteries running on the road. So that is a convenient and a nice upgrade to see on the coach. So look at those compartments though, right? That is pretty incredible. I love that they just open straight up. Just simple, just get the heck out of the way all the way up. Makes sense. And the fact that you don't have slides, of course, on this side gives you access to them all the time. And right here, to finish up this side, we've got a 10-gallon hot water heater, a straightforward gravity fill, so you can fill from here or, of course, on the other side, as we, switching the valve between city and fill. Our furnace is located here, about 37,000 BTUs. Back of the refrigerator, which will run off of propane or electric, put it on automatic mode. And now we're gonna go take a peek at that interior. So in the front here, as you first come into the coach, they have put the wood floor, they have like a plank floor in this entrance area, and it might be like some type of vinyl. I'm not sure. It feels pretty real. Either way, it's a hard surface for your entrance, which is what you want. And the carpet was replaced. So this is not original carpet. It's all new and it's fresh. And it looks quite nice because it sort of encompasses you or surrounds you as you walk into the interior. The dash space is pretty expansive, so you do have a good amount of space when you do walk in. I have this chair pushed all the way back right now. However, you do have a good bit of distance to travel putting this forward, and you have a pretty wide entrance step area, especially for a coach this age. Anyways, these chairs are wide, comfortable, and nice to use when you're parked as well. Now the carpet begins right here after that little hard surface thing. There are aisle lights up there, and we do have a smart TV, a Vizio smart TV up here in the front. And one thing I'd like to mention is the windows are fantastic because of those curved pieces on the front, and also these large pieces all along here. And these, this window isn't broken up by like a vent or anything. It just looks quite fantastic, and they've surrounded it with a subtle little piece here. It's like a leather or some kind of pleather, but it looks nice and just goes with the flow. Now, this area, I've got a recliner, and you can move this around. This has adequate space as it is. Good bit of storage, so it has the oak cabinetry. And we've got Spartan original manual for the Cummins, all kinds of good stuff. We've got little map lights here, and these pieces around the windows are quite tasteful, especially considering its age. Actually, the interior floor plan and decor in general is quite tasteful. It's definitely quite impressive when you get to be familiar with it. It's certainly not something where you walk in it and it blows your mind, but as you're in it and as I've spent time in this interior, I've grown to appreciate the way it makes me feel when I'm inside. It's very comforting. But anyways, let's walk over here, and then right behind you, Kai's probably getting annoyed because he likes to plan exactly which way and I don't. And here I am going back and forth. Well, we have a nice, pretty comfortable couch here, and it's actually in really good shape. And when you're sitting here, you get a great view of the coach, I have to say, because you're sitting out on the slide. That mirror does a lot. We've got a classic RV mirror in the middle of the coach. I just love that. If it's done tastefully, anyways, I'm not going to go off on a mirror tangent. What I did want to say is they finished out the window treatments in the window, or in the slide area, I meant to say, and that window right there, and most RVs and a lot of RVs have the vents there. In this coach, the side windows on the slide are simply massive, rectangular, about the same size, but no vent, no shade. I can see right through it. Now it's tinted. All these windows back behind the cockpit are tinted. So it's hard to see in the coach, easy to see out. It's absolutely beautiful. You get a much better view out of that window. And for me, the experience of sitting in the couch is definitely a good percentage better, I think. I like seeing out the coach. I think it makes all the difference. And if you notice, Prevost buses, especially those XL2 double slides, I'm thinking of some Liberty coaches, they do the same thing. They have these huge windows on the sides of the slides, let you see out. Anyways, this couch has a pull-out bed underneath, so contributes to the sleeping arrangements you have. And this piece up here is pretty nice. It's abnormally large, and it works for me because the proportions, if you're standing right here, the proportions of the cabinetry up in the front cockpit and this trim piece are all about the same. And that's a little different than your normal thin trim piece, and I think that definitely contributes to the whole thing, and the whole coach just feels very put together. Now this is our dining area. Fabric is in pretty excellent condition. And I love these shades, by the way. So here's that day shade, and there are some stains right there. Unfortunately, it happens, and I'm sure there could be ways of cleaning it or whatever, but it comes free of charge, as my dad would say. Now the most important one, the nightshade. So in all reality, the nightshade is in great shape here. All these windows have these string operated shades, so a little easier to use than some of the standard stuff you'll see, at least from my perspective. But in all reality, you don't need that day shade anymore because these windows are tinted. Good amount of space in there, little extra lighting, cabinets. I like that little piece. They did a good job there. And the mirror. Let's not go on that tangent. This kitchen space, and then all the way through into the bathroom, is tiled. So we have a warm tile down there. Grout is in pretty good condition. I haven't seen, let me do a quick inspection. One little hair crack right there. So we have one hair crack tile, ladies and gentlemen, and that's not bad at all. It's not loose, it's still solid. It is what it is. But the tile is nice to put your feet on, especially when you're in the kitchen area. This Corian, very tasteful. Again, hit with that sort of contemporary look, almost a gray, I would say. I mean, what color would you say that is? It's like a gray with a beautiful black and a very tasteful Corian countertop. Nice inserts, dual solid surface sink. Set those little fellers back in there. I like these little lights. So got these little small lights all throughout under here, and a good amount of storage. You know, it's not, they left the front cockpit They didn't give you huge storage, but you have much more space up there, but they did fill out on both sides here. And right here, I love these little Corian covered, simple fold back pieces. So you simply set them there, and then they've got a little groove, and then later you can lift it up to put it back down. 3-burner gas stove. And this coach has a convection microwave oven as well as a classic gas oven. So you gotta like having both. I mean, you can't really complain about having both, I suppose. Drawers are in pretty good shape down here. Oh, don't need to show that because we need to set that right. Good bit of storage. Carpeted down here. Even that carpeting is in pretty good shape. There's like one little leak I see from like a bottle or something. But other than that, pretty clean. Good bit of storage. And with that, let's check out our pantry. So there's a pen. Love the slide out rack. This is awesome. We also have a set amount of pantry up top. So it's nice having that split. And right here we have our refrigerator. So this will run off of both propane or electric. You can put it in automatic mode. It does have an ice maker. We need to check that ice maker, but the refrigerator works excellently. We've already checked that. AC's generator works great, all that good stuff. Got a propane valve cut off. You got a button for it right there. Slide out controls. Check your tanks. Turn your water pump on. Front AC, as well as our hot water heater control. This is a pocket door. So you can separate yourself. And there's a good amount of space back in this master suite. So step on back. Let me nitpick a flaw. Wallpaper is just not perfectly stuck down. That's a minor little flaw. And this back bathroom setup is quite nice. We have our individual and set off porcelain toilet. And this is a large Dometic porcelain toilet. A little bit of extra storage, fan, and we've got our little vent cover as well. So even if it rains, you can still use it. Corian countertop on this rear vanity area. I love the double mirrors. Just gives it a cool look, and there's still storage space back there. Corian countertop is just nice to have. Continue with that gray. This is pretty large. This is pretty large. I mean, the width and everything, height is pretty good. Good size shower. And this is where we have our bedroom. This looks like a king bed. I need to remeasure that to verify, but I'm pretty sure that's a king bed. And this carpeting, again, was replaced, so it looks very nice. Big amount of storage there, wardrobe space. Yeah, that's huge, carpeted. And I love the little eye lights too. So we've got eye lights dedicated. That's an accessory piece. And these coaches are all set up to have a washer dryer setup right here. But for now, we have a ton of extra storage space. So this bedroom space continues back over here. With the slide out, I have a bunch of walking space right over here, and I can climb into bed here, and just a ton. We've got like just a ton of storage. And with this extra mattress, it kind of, you know, makes it a little hard to open up, but I'm sure you could change the mattress or figure out, I think there's a topper on this. Yeah, there's a topper on this. So you could take that topper off. It's like a foam accessory and get back here much easier. And even still, to the left of this huge wardrobe, there's more storage space, which is pretty crazy, even up top. And it gives it a very unique look. You can kind of set up some decorations here instead. There's so much storage space. That would be an interesting place to put a globe or I don't know, something. And here we have like a vanity area. I guess you could put a chair if you wanted, but I don't know what the exact purpose is. There's a ton of storage, a little bit of countertop space here, and breaker box is down below. We've got an older TV right here. It could be easily upgraded to a smart TV if you want. And this has 2-zone AC, which means 2 units up top. And the thermostat for our rear air conditioning is conveniently located right here. Aisle lights, you turn that off and on. This is, again, a pretty nice floor plan. I have to say, it feels very homey. Again, this tile that is continued throughout, and then sort of the fresh carpet that's just nice to put your feet on. It's a pretty nice package all around. Let us go take a peek at the cockpit and then go get it on the road. So to begin with, we have a classic Spartan steering wheel right here. Hadley air horns, of course. I hope you remembered from earlier. And the gauges are actually quite nice to look at. We've got oil pressure, as well as our coolant temperature, of course, water temperature, and I love having the oil temperature right over here too. That's nice to have. Is that? Oh, that's actually, that's our transmission temperature gauge. Up here we've got our tachometer, speedometer, front and rear air pressure gauges over on the right, fuel gauge, of course, and battery voltage. So on the left, we've got light switches and, you know, generator control. The generator has about 909 hours. Our engine retarder, which controls our Jake brake. You know, all the air conditioning controls, which the dash AC does not blow cold. I'm sure it could be addressed if wanted, but hey, this is a really nice coach for money, and it's not perfect. Now over here on the left, we've got our Allison control, as well as our HWH automatic leveling system control. So these are our leveling jacks. You can also dump the airbags here, and this is our emergency brake. Now the cockpit just feels so kind of wraps around you, and I like how it looks. Definitely like how this feels. All feels pretty seamless in here. That's kind of the whole vibe of the interior. Now let's see how many miles we have. 54,000. Backup monitor here. Probably looks funky on camera, but you can see something there. It's black and white, but it gets the job done. You can always upgrade it if you wanted to. CD player, and we've got a step cover, which works great over there. And the cockpit for the passenger, it's quite nice too. Just got a cup holder, straightforward handle, nice window viewing area, that's for sure, and that step cover. All right, let's go hit the road. I can't wait. It's a very good sounding 8.3. So the power is very good, actually. This coach will get up and go, and it sounds good too from where I'm sitting. We're cruising about 68 miles an hour. The retarder, it has an engine retarder. It's a Jake brake, a Jacobs brake. One stage, but it works great. And here we're gonna come off that Jake brake. See, that's always a question too, the transition from the Jake brake to back on the throttle. And I have to say, this Spartan Mountain Master is a fantastic chassis. The steering is light and airy feeling, a very different style than I'm used to when you are encountered with your typical Mountain Master Spartan chassis. And this coach, I mean, right now it is driving absolutely fantastic. You got to get in tune with it, but it's very easy to keep it in a straight line. I'm gonna merge over here. Yeah, the coach feels very nice. We're going up this hill. It's giving us plenty of power. Mountain Master chassis is fantastic. Just set cruise control. So cruise control rolls great. Oh, look at that. They got the little windows open for those horses. That's cute. Look at this. Going around this corner, the coach is absolutely rock solid. I feel very comfortable with it. I could do many, many miles with this chassis. Heck yeah. Front end, I'm not used to this sensitive, and I was not expecting that, to be honest. Typically, you know, some of the newer American coaches, like, you know, 17 model coaches like that, the big coaches from American, they have kind of sensitive and touchy front ends, which are very nice. And this coach has something along those lines, which again is very surprising to me. I quite like it though. And some of this stuff is personal preference, of course, but there's no denying this type of coach. I mean, I think it makes it much easier to get in tune and in touch with the coach. And maybe, I think this coach would probably make you a little too comfortable at first because it's so easy to steer it. Now the cockpit certainly gives you a different feeling too. I feel like I'm more back in this coach with that dash that's so expansive. But in all reality, when you have your eyes up there, the dash kind of blends in for the most part, but I do feel like I'm kind of I'm really in a cockpit. You know, I use the term cockpit to describe the fronts of many coaches, and depends on what type of cockpit you're talking about, but this one sort of gives you that feeling, if you will, especially with the way this is kind of around me instead of fading off that way. I think that's part of it too. I feel very comfortable and just protected. I don't know what it is. It's an expansive experience because those two pieces of glass wrap around, and then I have a great view of those Velvac mirrors. And I have to say, along with that cockpit feeling, that's an interesting and very unique and pleasurable combination. All right, so we have now entered the highway in the correct direction this time. And I just want to kind of bring things to a concise conclusion on this test drive. So, the coach, you know, as far as what it is on paper, a side mount radiated, you know, 8.3 Cummins with the Spartan chassis, and they add more metal down below than your average chassis, so you got a little more rigidity out of these Spartans. And the biggest thing is, how does it actually feel? It drives dead straight. The brakes are awesome. It has a very accurate front end. And I can't stress this enough, that is very uncommon in the RV world. Most RVs, regular RVs, and really Prevos too, but most RVs just have vague front ends. And sometimes, especially on regular RVs, they've got vague front ends that seem to have a lot of play in the center. So this one definitely doesn't have that. I mean, it's more of a sensitive front end, which can work against you if you are very jerky, right? Like if you're not paying attention, it's not as ideal, because some of those coaches that have the steering setup where there's a lot of play, it helps you not move the coach as much when you're wanting to bounce the steering wheel around. So this coach really makes it's guiding you towards wanting to have a steering wheel that is centered and you don't have to bounce too much. That's the goal of every RV, and part of it's the driver, part of it's the bus and the setup. I think this is a pretty dang good setup. So with that, let us move on to something, because I don't know what's coming next. What's coming next? Probably the end? Oh, that's right. This is about the end. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, if you're interested in this coach, please feel free to reach out. Being a 2001, financing will be very hard, but doable. It just depends. So if you're interested in this coach, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you so much for watching either way, and I hope you've had a great day. I'm going to go on to hopefully driving in the right direction and not missing exits and enjoying this Spartan chassis.